Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode. I have a new guest here. Actually, the first time I have a guest that I haven't met before, named Marissa. How are you today?
I'm doing awesome. How about yourself?
Good. Just here, ready to record.
All right, sounds good. I am now ready to record. I'm super excited about this. Yeah. So, what's it called? My cousin, she was like, "Hey, I'm going on a podcast," and I was like, "Oh, that's super cool." And she's like, "Yeah, I'm really nervous. Can you help me get prepared?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." And then, what's it called? She was like, "Yeah, it's with someone that I used to work with," and then she told me how like you have the name of her oldest brother, but you look like her middle brother.
Yeah. I
Now
thought it
you guys
was.
used to like
Yeah.
mess with people at work about that, and that's incredible.
Yeah.
So her name is also Marissa, and my name is Marissa, but it's spelled different. It's
Okay.
one S. Hers is one S, and mine is two. And dude, growing up, when we were at our grandma's house, everyone was like, "This is confusing."
Yeah, what were your parents thinking when you told
So
me? I'm
like,
like,
okay, so technically we're not related by blood. We
okay.
are related by marriage. So her grandfather married my grandmother.
Okay, that makes more sense now. So yeah,
Yeah.
your parents didn't know each other at the beginning.
No. Our parents did not know each other. And she's older. And also her younger sister, Marisol, that was also confusing too. So people would call her Marissa and then they would call me Missy. And
Oh,
like
that's weird.
it wasn't I hated oh my god, I hated that nickname growing up. I was like, this is so embarrassing. Like, why is everybody calling me Missy? But then, like, if they called both of us Marissa, it was even more confusing.
Yeah, it can be.
They literally, I don't know why they didn't just start calling us by our middle names. Like,
She
that
has a middle
happened.
name. I did
Like,
not know this.
it was so stupid. Like, they could have just called us by our middle name. Actually, I'm not going to lie. My middle name is a very, okay. I think I gotta go back a little bit. Okay, so a little bit about myself, a little background. So my mom is from Wisconsin. She
Okay.
grew up on a vegetable farm in Wisconsin, and then after high school, she went to the military, and she was put in Alaska. And then my dad, he's from Houston, um, and he was in a I don't know where the old neighborhood is. I know it's like North Houston. It's like super super ghetto. Um and what's it called? He didn't want to be involved in like the gangs and everything.
Hmm.
So he went to the military after high school too, and he was also sent to Alaska. And that's where my parents met. And then they got married 6 months after they started dating, and then he got moved to California. They had my sisters and then they came here. So me and my sisters are half Mexican, half white. And I am the only one who looks white. So basically, me and Marissa look nothing alike because we're not blood, but also I am super white. And my sisters don't look anything. My sisters actually look a lot like Marissa. Like
Really? That's
yeah,
funny.
like there was this one picture that Marissa took. I forget how it was like years ago. And I looked at it, I was like, you literally look like my middle sister. Like my sister Amanda. I was like, that's crazy because y'all are not actually related. And I sent my sister the picture of her. And then my sister was like, hey, give me like 5 minutes. And then she set herself up the exact same way that Marissa looked in the picture so that we could put the two together. And they looked exactly the same. And then every now and then, like Marisol will look like my oldest sister, and I'm like, I'm not a part of it. I'm not a part of it. We always say that my mom ran out of toner, and that's why I'm white. Oh my
That's
god.
funny. Well, my family, we kind of say like the odd man out is like the milkman's child.
Yeah, everyone used to be like, hey Marsha, like what does your mailman look like? But here's the thing. This is what I tell people because it genuinely is true. You know, like those pictures, you know, that dress that like went viral like years ago where people are
Yeah.
like, it's gold and white or it's blue and black. Okay. But then like people have put them together, like the shaded areas together, and they're like, oh yeah, no, it's the same dress. Okay, so that's what it's like when I stand next to my dad when my mom and sisters are not there. I look just like him. But then the moment you bring one other person in, I no longer look like him. It's as if this everything changes.
It all
But I
fades
look like
away.
but I also look like a spitting image of my mom, which honestly is kind of nice to know because she's like 56. So now I know exactly what I'm going to look like when I'm 56.
Yeah, that's
So I'm
true.
like, my mom is adorable. I'm going to be so cute when I'm 56. So it makes me feel kind of good. I'm like, hey, aging is going to be fine. And
Yes.
so I'm like, I'm okay with that. But yeah, so me and Marissa, okay, did she tell you anything about like her and I?
No, she just told me you were related, that she was your cousin, and that's it.
That's crazy because it's also kind of not true. So
Yeah, I
like,
know. But it makes sense
she
to
lied.
me. It makes sense to me because I also have like family like that. Like I have an uncle that
Yeah.
everyone calls uncle, but we're not actually related. So
Oh my
it just makes
God.
sense.
I found out way too late in life that our cousin Joanna and Susie were not actually related at all. Like when their mom came here got to Houston, um, she worked with our grandma, and then she was like, "We don't have any family here." And then my grandma was like, "You do have family here now. Come to Christmas and all of our holidays." And then when they came, our grandma was like, "This is your cousin Joanna. This is your cousin Susie." And we were like, "Oh, okay."
And nobody
And then
questioned it.
we found out, like, literally, Joanna and Susie, they knew that they weren't related to us, but like none of us knew until we were all teenagers. They were like, "We're not actually related." And my mind was blown away. I was like, "Are you saying that our black cousin Jonathan is also not our cousin?"
That should have been a huge hit. None of y'all are.
So like, oh my God, I always felt like do you ever watch George Lopez growing up?
Yes.
Yeah, you know when there's that one episode where someone comes to the door and Max is the one who answers. He's like, "Hey, like I'm George's cousin, like cousin from Mexico or whatever." And Max turns around, he's like, "Carmen, we found another." That's how I
Oh
felt.
yeah. I remember that.
That's how I always felt whenever like we would meet our cousin. I'm like, yeah, sure. Cause like what's it called? My dad has my grandma's maiden name, not his dad's name. So
Mhm.
anytime I would meet another Cordero, I would just assume like, oh yeah, it's just all over the family. We're just like all Corderos. And then I didn't realize I know nobody from my dad's like my grandfather, like my biological grandfather.
Mhm.
I don't know anybody on his side. So there's a whole other side of family. And I just always assumed that one day we would meet a bunch of them. And then like I wouldn't need to be like, oh, those are my cousins. I'd be like, yeah, of course they're my cousins. So like everybody's my cousin.
Yeah.
Everybody's related to me.
But
But
that's a very Hispanic thing though.
yes, yes, it is.
It's like,
When so okay, so here's a little bit about me and Marissa. I'm actually really surprised she didn't tell you this. So you know how Marissa is married to Matt?
yes.
Okay, I am also married to a Matt.
That's funny. You have the same
And
name. You got married to the same
same
guy
name.
with the same
Okay,
name.
but her husband is white and
Yes.
I'm white. But my husband, I call him a purebred because he's like Mexican on both sides. So
Oh,
he is dark like Marissa, and then I'm white like Matt. So we say that we're like mirror opposites. So
yeah.
like it's the same thing, but like switched.
Yeah.
And what's it called? Our dating anniversaries are only a couple days apart. Well, a year and a couple days. So it's like theirs was like the 20, I want to say 24th of March, but they started dating in 2013. And then me and my husband, we started dating the 22nd of March, but in 2014. Mind you, she's also a year like older than I am. So
Yeah.
she's like, oh my God, like whatever happens in my life, a year later, it's going to happen to you.
I better get ready when she gets pregnant.
Oh my gosh, right? Oh my dude. Okay, so like my husband, he lost his father a couple years ago, but around the same time, Matt lost his mom around the same time. And then Marissa, she lost her dad around COVID. And so I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, my mom is next. And I started freaking out because I was like, both Matt's parents lost a parent, and then Marissa lost a parent, which means I'm next. The cycle did not continue.
That's good.
It's safe. What's it called? We did find out that my mom was sick, but she's fine now and she's alive. It's okay. But like around that time, I was like, my mom is on thin ice. Like I don't know how long. Oh my gosh. But yeah, literally like the day the first time we went to our grandma's houses after both of us had gotten glasses, and we didn't like, her and I weren't like that close at the time. So she showed up to our grandma's house with glasses, and I showed up to our grandma's house with glasses, and she's like, there's no way both Marissas now wear glasses. Like, what is going on? And then like just the same stuff kept happening, and then like we graduated the same year, and like everything was the same. So we're always like, yeah, we're basically the same person, but like flipped.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised she didn't tell you about that.
No, she didn't tell me anything. That's probably why she did it. She wanted it to be like a surprise, a podcast.
Oh my God. Yeah. So that's a little bit about me. I was also homeschooled growing up, so that wasn't the same. But we did. So I grew up homeschooled. My mom said she felt like this conviction. I also grew up heavily in church too. I am no longer a Christian, but I grew up like in that whole, I call it the Christian sphere. Cause like in Houston specifically, like a bunch of churches will like, well, not just in Houston, but like it's a normal thing for different churches to like come together for like different events and whatnot. And my dad, he was like super, super involved in all of that. So no matter where I went in Houston, if there was a Christian there, they probably were like, oh my God, you're Lorenzo's daughter. Oh my God, you're the little Cordero. So like, what's it called?
Go to like the conventions and all that.
Yeah. So and everybody knew whose kid I was, except there was some times where someone would confuse me for a different church leader's kid. And I'd be like, no, I'm not there. I am not. No, that's not. I'm Lorenzo's kid. And they're like, oh, we couldn't tell because you're white. Like, thanks. I appreciate it. So glad you don't see color. Oh my gosh. But I grew up homeschooled. And my dad used to do he did a couple things. He was a DJ, and then he also did like fundraising. So have you ever sold like chocolate bars at school?
I remember the chocolate bars. I did the like the paper things where you can like order something.
Like the catalogs?
Yeah, we did the catalogs.
Yeah. Yeah. Did y'all ever do like Cherrydale or like World's Finest? For like
we did World's Finest. I remember I did that once.
I gotcha. Yeah. So my dad used to work for World's Finest's like biggest competitor. And then like later on, he ended up moving to World's Finest, but he did fundraising. So he was the guy who would walk into the schools and like do the presentation and get you guys pumped to like sell. And that's what he would do. And then he would also be the DJ at the prize party because it was like, it was easy to like make that happen. Yeah. But so like we used to go to Marissa's school. Like we would go to Marissa's school, and I remember like we would be at like the prize parties for Marissa and Marisol. So we would get to see them anytime that we were there, which was pretty cool. But we also saw like a bunch of people that we knew because we would like go to their schools and everything. Yeah. But yeah, so that was the closest I had ever gotten to going to school with Marissa was just being in the gymnasium at like what's it called? Magnolia 6th grade. That's the closest I'd ever been. Oh,
Golly, that's so
it was
long
not close at
ago.
all. I know. Oh my gosh. So question. Okay. So tell me a little about yourself because I don't know anything about you.
You know anything? Marissa didn't
I
tell
don't.
you.
All I know is that you look like my cousin and that you have the name of a different cousin.
Well, it's funny because I actually met Marissa. We were working together, and then she worked at a doctor's office a few blocks from the pharmacy that I worked at, and that's how we ran into each other again.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah, and
Y'all
then,
like worked right next to each other.
yes.
So wait, how did y'all's paths cross?
It was just because I worked at the pharmacy. I think I can't remember if one day she called or one day I called, but we just ended up calling each other, and that's how we found out.
That's crazy.
And I was like, Marissa, is that you? And that's kind of how.
Oh my god!
Wait, that has happened to me a few times. Where I'm like,
really?
You sound so familiar. Where do I know you from? And then it's that I know someone.
Oh my gosh. I think only once have I ever like ran into an old coworker, but it wasn't even like, it wasn't at a job. It was me and my husband, when we moved in together. The first part we moved in together, like I want to say almost 8 years ago. And then the second apartment that we moved into after we moved out of that one, we decided to get a roommate. And so his best friend started living with us. But I remember it was like around Christmas, and somebody had put an ornament on my wreath, like on the door. And I was like, that's kind of weird, but also kind of cool, whatever. And then like a couple days later, I was walking up the stairs and I saw this guy and I was like, he looks so familiar. And then he like looked back at me and he kept looking back at me. And I was like, am I scaring him? Like, am I freaking him out? Do I seem like I'm stalking him? Cause like we went from the parking lot to like the staircase, and then we kept following through each other up to the 3rd floor. And then when we got up to the 3rd floor, he turns around and he's like, oh my God, Marissa? And I was like, oh my God, Patrick? And then turns out that we had worked together like 5 years prior to that. It was crazy. And he was like, oh my God, why are you here? Like, why are you following me to my apartment? And I was like, I'm not following you to your apartment. I'm walking to mine. We were literally neighbors, and he was the one who put the ornament on my wreath. He was like, I wanted to add to your wreath. It was so cute. I was like, that's so weird to do.
At least it was someone he knew.
I know. I was like, you didn't know that was me when you did it. And he was like, I know, but I thought it would be cute. That's crazy. Turns out he was literally like right next door. Did we see each other after that? A couple times in passing. We literally never hung out after that. We did not say, we'd like just do like that like friendly like wave like,
yeah, like you do with all your neighbors.
Like, yeah, literally, it was crazy. And he was like, oh my God, you got to come over. Never did once. And I was like, oh my God, you got to come over. Never did once. Like,
that very surface level.
Oh my gosh. And we used to like fuck with each other so much when we worked at a academy together. And the thing that like helped me click that who he was, when he was walking up, he was in the academy uniform. And I was like, that's where I know you. And he even remembered. So my husband also worked there. So he was like, are you still like with Matt? And I was like, he literally lives here. Like, yeah, we're still together. And he's like, that's crazy. And I was like, I know. So it was so funny. Honestly, I missed that apartment so much. It had a huge balcony. I loved it so much.
That's nice. I've never lived in an apartment before.
Really?
Yeah, I've always lived in homes.
Oh my gosh. Wait, so like do you like live at home still, or do you like rent out a house?
I rent out a house.
Do you have like a bunch of roommates?
No, just me.
Oh my God, okay. Fancy pants Ricky. What do you mean? Do you own or do you just rent?
I rent.
Oh my God.
I can't own right now. Everything's expensive.
I know. That's why I was about to say, okay, like go off. All right, pharmacy George. That's so
Okay.
cool. What like is that the first house that you've moved to, or like have you like moved around to different places?
No, I just after I moved, this is where I ended up. So it actually belongs to my family. My family owns it.
Oh,
I
okay. So
rent
you
it
rent
from
from
them.
your family.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I got you. How big is the house? Is it just like a
Uh,
3 bedroom?
it's 3 bedrooms.
And you're there by yourself? Are you
Yeah.
never aren't you like scared?
I have a dog, so no.
How big is your dog?
She's pretty
Don't
big.
say okay,
She
I thought
has
you
a
were gonna say
loud bark.
she's a teacup.
No, she's a golden lab mix.
Oh, what's her name?
Nala.
Like the Lion King?
Yes.
That's incredible. Oh my
I
god,
didn't
I
name
love
her, but I kept the name just because I thought it
Oh,
fit.
was she a rescue?
She was.
Oh, and then you just like locked eyes and you're like, that's her, that's my girl, that's Nala.
Well, it was funny. She was actually rescued by my brother's fiance because
And
we
then
had
they
lost
couldn't
our
keep her?
dog. No, we lost our dog, and so
Oh,
she wanted to replace it with another golden Labrador, and so she found this one that was about to be put down, and so she got her, and then told her, "Here you go. This
oh,
is for you," and so she gave him to
oh
me.
my god, that's so sweet. That's so sweet. How the heck did she find one that was about to get put down? How did she save this dog's life? What
Uh,
are the chances? What are the odds?
so the place where she was getting them from, they will send you emails like, "Hey, this dog is like
Oh,
on his
okay.
last one. Like, if
Oh,
it's not adopted by the end of the week, she will be put down," kind of a
oh
thing.
my
It's
god.
like a last
That's
ditch
kind of
effort.
manipulative.
I know, I think so too. But so she did, and when they did, she went to go pick her up.
Oh, I'm so happy that you guys got her. That's so
Yeah, so that's
sweet.
how I
How
got
old
her.
is she?
She's 2, gonna be turning 3 this year.
Wait, she's a baby and they were going to put her down?
Yeah, she was like very small. She was like a few months old when they were gonna put her down.
Why?
They said that she had some skin disease, but we haven't had any issues.
Okay, so really it's just she needed love. That's what it
Yeah,
was.
like she's fine.
She's,
I've never noticed. Like I didn't even know until today. I found out
you found out today that she had a skin condition
that
and
she had a
that's why they were
skin
going to put her
condition.
down?
Whenever, yeah, that was the reason they were going to put her down. That she supposedly had a very
What?
contagious skin condition
Oh
that
my
never
god.
materialized. Because even when I took her to the vet, they didn't tell me anything about this skin condition. So
What the heck?
it was just a
That's
made up condition.
they just wanted to put down a dog.
Apparently,
They got a sicko back there just putting down dogs.
yes.
Oh my
They
god. Okay, here's an alt theory. They were never going to put her down and they put her on that list to try to get her adopted.
probably. But
And
apparently
they
there
never
was a
put down
bunch of
any
them because there
dogs.
was a whole litter, and she was the
Oh,
only one that was left.
but I feel like if she's a puppy, she'll there the chances of her getting adopted without the threat of murder is pretty
True.
high.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, why'd they have to say, hey, we're gonna kill her if you don't take her?
Yeah,
That's
but the
crazy.
funny thing is that she had told me that if she was actually they tried to adopt her before, but they wouldn't let her. They told her she's not ready yet. And the fact that she got
Wait,
this email was like it was later after she was allowed to be adopted now. But at the
oh,
beginning she had tried and failed.
that's what? Okay, yeah, definitely. That place is just sending out those emails like nothing. They're not
Yeah.
about it. They're all talk. You know what? Maybe you should kill a dog. I want to see if you'll actually do it.
Oh god, no, I couldn't do it.
No, no, I'm just kidding. But oh, that's so sweet. So if she's 2 now, did y'all got her as a puppy? You've had her for like a year and a half or so
Yeah, we got her like in December.
of this past December.
No,
Oh,
like
this
this year
December
she's turning
before, like
3, so it'll be
23.
2 years ago. Yeah.
Oh, oh, that's so sweet. I love that. I want a dog so bad, but we live in an apartment, so
Oh, you can't
and
have one.
we can have one. It's just like I
The
feel so
deposit
bad.
and
the deposit, and then I feel so bad because like dogs, especially when they're younger, they
Oh
need that
yeah.
like space. They got so much energy.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
like I'd have to constantly be like bringing them up and down the stairs. Like we really need, I want to wait until like I have a yard that they can like really like run and play in before I get a dog. Cause I feel like that's just wrong.
Yeah,
That's
I
not
agree.
fair, especially since I want a bigger dog.
Well,
That's like,
I have an acre, and this girl still loves to run around in like all the neighborhood. I'm like, really?
oh my God, she's spoiled.
And
That's
she has a one of
crazy.
those halo collars. I don't know
Okay,
if you
what's
know
a
about.
halo collar?
It's a collar that connects to like satellites, and it makes it where she can't leave. If she
Oh, so
does,
you
it
don't need a
shocks her.
fence.
Yes, I don't need
Oh,
a
okay.
fence.
Once she gets to the perimeter, that's when it like tells her, "Hey, no, no, ma'am, go
Yeah,
back,
go
go around."
back. But she doesn't
Maybe
care. She just keeps on
that's.
going.
Oh my gosh, have you ever seen WandaVision?
Yes.
Okay, so she like runs through the barrier like that agent went through the barrier. She
Yeah.
like goes through the shock so she can get away.
Yeah, that's literally what she does.
Does it keep shocking her when she passes through, or does it like stop at a certain
It
point?
it does for a little bit and then it stops.
So really, she's tough as nails because she's
Yeah.
ready. She's like, I just need a little bit of vibrations and then I'm fine.
Yeah, I know. And it's like set to the highest setting.
Oh my God. And it still doesn't deter her.
She doesn't care.
She's that poor
Yeah,
dog. What
I
the
know.
world? Oh my gosh. We used to have this one dog like growing up. We used to have a lot of pets. So like since we were homeschooled, my mom was like, y'all should learn responsibility by like taking care of animals. So we had at the time when we first got the dog, we had like two cats. I had one rabbit when we first got the dog,
Mhm.
and then we ended up getting a second rabbit too. And then around then, my middle sister, we found out that she was allergic to pet dander. So we had to get rid of the two rabbits and the two cats, but we got to keep her dog. So like she was responsible for the dog and she got to keep it. And then me and my oldest sister had to get rid of our cats and rabbits. And we were like, what the heck? She gets to keep her animal and we don't? That's crazy. But we had that dog for like maybe 8 years. Her name was Fergie, like the singer.
That's funny. I
And my
remember
sister,
Fergie.
we were all like, why do you name her Fergie? And she was like, I didn't know that the singer's name was Fergie. I thought it was Fergie. And we were like, what?
That's worse.
So Fergie, she would run out the door the moment it was open. It would take us so long to get her back. So we like just like kept her in the backyard and like in the house, but she was crazy. Anytime that we would like go off to like camp or like a conference or something like that and we would come
Mhm.
back, she would spend like 30 minutes just racing around the living room, just like jumping over our couches and like knocking shit over and like she would just like circle us
Mhm.
like she was herding a cattle or something. It was crazy. She was a crackhead. It was wild. Oh my God. Yeah, she would probably not have cared about the shock. She
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
wouldn't care
Some
at
dogs don't
all.
care. I don't see how
She was
she
nuts.
doesn't give a damn.
That's crazy. Oh my gosh. So what do you do for a living?
I'm a pharmacy tech. That's what I am now.
Okay, so you're still Pharmacy George.
I actually left for a while. I became a fence supervisor
Okay.
for a fence company, and then after that, no longer do that, so I went back to pharmacy.
You want to go back inside.
Well, both jobs were inside. I did have to measure sometimes,
Oh, okay.
but it
I
was
got
just
you.
like the responsibility of working at a fence company was insane. Like being in
That
charge of so many
yeah,
people, and then like even things that
I
like you
got
had nothing to do with somehow were your fault.
yeah, that sounds like being a supervisor. That sounds
Yes.
about right. Oh my
Like even
God.
on like
Like
my
it's
last
raining
day,
today and it's George's fault.
I it felt that way. Like literally on my last day, they were like, why didn't you send all these things out? It's like, this is the first I'm seeing this. Like, is my name's not even on this? And like it was like the owner and the office manager, and she's like, yeah, his name's not even on this. Like, why are you bringing this up? He's like, but you should know. It's like, I guess I should have known. Like, I don't know what to tell you, but
Oh
it
my
is what it
God.
is.
Oh my God. That's crazy. Oh my gosh. Okay. Have you lived in Houston your whole life?
Actually, I lived in pretty close. I lived in Waller.
Oh, I gotcha. I
Yeah,
gotcha.
it's so far away.
Interesting. And then right now, do you technically live in Houston or do you live like greater Houston area?
Greater Houston area. I'm in like
Mm.
Hockley area.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
I got you.
a little
Dang.
closer, but not by much.
I gotcha. So you like being out in the middle of nowhere. That's what
Pretty
you
much.
enjoy.
Oh, it's cheaper out there, and then
It
you get more. You
it
have more land for
is.
your buck.
Yeah, that's true. Man, I actually just okay, so funny story. I was actually ready an hour before you had called because I moved to North Carolina in November.
Hmm.
And when you were like, "Hey, do you want to get you want to talk at noon?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I I was waiting for your call and then you texted me and you're like, "You ready for noon?" And I was like, "Oh my God, we're in two different time zones." Yeah, I'm ready.
You could have told me. The funny thing is
Oh
that
my God.
I was also ready, but I was like, you know what? I told her noon.
Oh
I need to make it noon
my
because that's the time I told her.
That's crazy. Oh my God. I keep forgetting that I'm in a different time zone. And like, I keep forgetting. Like my whole family is back in Houston. So when they text me at like 10 at night and they're like, they ask me anything, and I'm like, y'all, I'm literally in bed trying to fall asleep. Do not text me. I don't want to hear from y'all at 11 at night. I'm trying to go to sleep. But then like in the morning, I'll be on my way to work or something at like 7 in the morning, and
Mm,
then I'll like call my mom and I'll be like, "What you doing?" And she's like, "I just woke up." She's like, "I literally just woke up." What? And
yeah,
then
'cause
I
time
keep forgetting.
difference.
Oh my God, I keep forgetting, or like I keep forgetting that like the weather is different. So like my mom will be like, "God, it's such a gloomy day. Like the rain is so bad." And I'll be like, "Mom, there's literally not a cloud in the sky. What in the world are you talking about?" Or like vice versa. I'll be like, "God, this rain is awful." And she's like, "Oh no, it seems like a pretty nice day." And I'm like, in what book is this a nice day? Oh my God. So I moved to Raleigh, and I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like literally, I forget that I'm not in Texas all the time.
That's
All the
funny.
time. I feel like I'm driving around in literally like the Hockley, Magnolia, like Woodlands area.
Okay.
That's how I feel that I am. But then it's like super hilly. My ears pop all the time.
Oh,
Like
dang.
just while I'm driving down the
Uh,
street. I had to get used to driving on hills because like I've been speeding really bad. Like I've been speeding like crazy. Cause like when you start going downhill, if you are still hitting that gas, you're gonna hit somebody. I've almost hit so
yeah.
many pedestrians. I'm not even kidding. There's so okay, so like Raleigh is a pretty I wouldn't say it's a walkable city.
Hmm.
But they try to make like there's bike lanes everywhere, like inner city and outer city. There's like bike lanes everywhere. Basically, no matter where you are, just be prepared that there's somebody on a bike. Um,
10
and
points.
then there every single time you have like a crosswalk, it's a yield to the crosswalk. So I can't tell you how many times that I've just like sped right through those crosswalks and there are people like waiting for me because I'm supposed to yield to them. Literally, I feel so bad because then I realize it while we're making eye contact while I'm speeding fast.
He was beating through. Almost ran someone over.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. And then like so the population, it's like barely, well, okay, so Raleigh is kind of like Houston in like the whole like Houston, and then you have your greater Houston area,
Yeah.
but like I still consider greater Houston area Like, I would still consider Hockley to be Houston.
Yeah, it's
Like,
close enough.
I used to live out in Fulshire. I still consider that Houston. Like,
Fulshire is far.
I know, but like, honestly, if that toll road wasn't like went directly into the middle of like downtown Houston, I probably wouldn't consider Fulshire to be like Houston, but it took me like less than 30 minutes to get to like the Galleria from where I lived in Fulshire because of that toll road. So I'm like, it's Houston.
Yeah, it's
but so Raleigh is kind of the same way. They have like cities on the outskirts, but they're so small that it's kind of like the Woodlands or Cypress or Katy or that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So technically their population is larger. It's like 1 million, but Raleigh, it's only like 500,000. So it's like
as many people.
It is significantly smaller. And the traffic is like non-existent. Even when the traffic is bad, it's still not bad. It's wild to me how much I've been enjoying driving around here. And like, oh my gosh. And when I moved here, so I work for a cookie shop.
Mm-hmm.
And they have one location out here in Raleigh. They have like 1 million in Houston. But when I got here, I was like, oh, I'm going to be around people who aren't used to Texans. Like, they don't know Texas. And then I got there, and both of my managers moved to Raleigh from Dallas. And so they were like, oh, we're from Texas too. And I'm like, you must be from Dallas, because if you're going to tell me that both of us are like all of us are from the same Texas, you are delusional. And you
Dallas
are
is very
definitely from Dallas. And what's it called? It took a while for me to feel comfortable enough to like say out loud at work, like, hey, we have different experiences in Texas. Do not loop me in on anything that you say that you experienced in Texas, because it's so different. Oh my God. They used to be like, oh yeah, we get snow all the time. And I'm like, literally, you're in Dallas. I'm from Houston. We did not. Two different experiences, 2 different countries, 2 different states. Like, we're not from the same place. This one girl, she's originally from Alabama. And you can tell when she talks about Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, girl, you're not from here. And like, we are not from the same Texas. So when people ask me about being from Texas, I'm like, in my experience is not like theirs. Do not think that we share experiences. Also, I hate Dallas. So, and I think it's funny, like the Dallas hate, because people from Dallas don't realize why we hate them. And it's just like, give us a reason. You don't even have to give us a reason. It could be about football. It could be about your driving. It could be about your freeways. It could be about anything. It could be about you as a person. And I can tell you why I hate Dallas. Like, my dad is so like, he's a huge Texans fan. And so growing up, he was like, if I ever see you guys rooting for Dallas or wearing a Dallas Cowboys thing, like, you're sleeping outside. You're not walking in the house with that.
That's funny.
And like, my husband, he's a Patriots fan. So when I brought him home to meet them, I literally was like, hey, don't talk about football yet. I want them to like you first. I was like, I want them to get to know you as a person, not as a Patriots fan. So like, don't say anything. And then my dad and him, their rivalry over football, honestly, it's become a good thing. And then my dad is huge on WWE, and my husband grew up watching WWE. So like, they've found a way to bond. So I'm glad, but it was scary at first. Oh my God. Also, my husband told me, he swears up and down that he never said this, but I have a vivid memory of him telling me that he was fluent in Spanish. He was never fluent in Spanish. So when he met my family, I was like, oh, this is great. He can speak Spanish with my dad. And then when he meets my grandparents, he can talk to them better than I can talk to them. Yeah. Not a lick of Spanish. When he met my grandma, that was when I found out, because my grandma was like, oh my gosh. Literally, I've been doing Spanish on Duolingo for like month
Mhm.
and a half now. I'm blanking on the phrase. Like, do you speak Spanish?
I
Do you
do.
speak, what? Oh my God. Why am I blanking on it? Oh my God. Duolingo doesn't work. No. She was like, oh, do you speak any Spanish? And he said, muy pequeño. And then I was like, oh, you don't know Spanish.
No, yeah,
That
he's
was
muy
wrong.
poquito.
Oh my God, that was wrong. And then she corrected him and he was like, oh, my bad. And she's like, it's okay. You can speak English with me. It was so funny. And I literally was like, you told me you spoke like fluent Spanish. And he's like, I never said that. I'm like, you did though. You told me because I believed it for so long. And now this is embarrassing for both of us. But it was
Yeah,
fine. It was fine. My grandma thought it was adorable. So it was
that both of
okay.
y'all didn't know each other. No.
Oh my God. I remember when we first got together, I called my grandma. I was like, hey, do you know anybody by this name? And I told my grandma my husband's grandma's name. Because
Mhm.
I was like, if they're all Mexican, there's a chance they know each other. And if they know each other, there's a chance they don't like each other. So I need to double
That is
check
very true.
that there is not, it's not going to be one of those, like, you ever see that movie, You Again? Where like these two people are getting married, but then it's like the sister of the groom was bullied by the bride, and then the mother of the bride and the mother of the groom, they also went to high school and they were rivals, and then even their
Yeah, it sounds
grandmothers,
familiar. Yeah, it sounds
yeah, even
familiar.
their grandmothers were rivals. I was like, I don't want one of those situations to happen when they finally meet. And you know what's crazy? They still haven't met. We've been together for 11 years. They still haven't met.
They haven't met.
They haven't met. I kind of figured it would happen like if we had kids, but we still haven't had kids. Like we would have like a birthday party and both sides come and then
Yeah.
that's when they meet. But I was like, they're eventually going to meet and I don't want them to hate each other. So like I asked my grandma, I was like, hey, do you know someone by this name? Mind you, it was a pretty like generic, not generic, but like it was a pretty common name. And then she was like, no, I don't know anybody by that name. Why are you asking? I was like, oh, because that's grandma's name. And I just want to make sure that you like don't have any beef with her. And then my grandma looked at me dead in my face and she's like, oh, mija, I never have beef with anyone. And I'm like, that is the biggest lie I've ever
Yeah.
heard. It's the biggest lie. Grandma, no, don't say that. Don't lie to me. Like, that's crazy. And she
Yeah.
swears up and down she doesn't know. And I was like, okay. So if y'all ever meet, I'm expecting you to play nice. Like, don't be saying those passive aggressive things under your breath. So,
Yeah.
oh my God, grandma.
That's very Hispanic grandmother. Like,
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But apparently they don't know each other because I also asked his grandma if she ever met someone with like my grandma's name. And she was like, no, I've never met anybody with that name. I was like, okay, cool. So I'm like, all right, they don't know each other. We're fine. We're good. And this lets me know we're not like distant cousins. So
true.
this is because that's the other problem with both of us being Mexican. You never know. You never know
Yeah.
where it might cross.
That's true.
So
The
I
families
don't
are
know.
always so big.
Yeah.
And you
Oh my
usually
gosh.
don't know anyone.
Dude, okay, so in high school, I had this boyfriend in high school. It was not very serious. We honestly, like looking back, this is like over 10 years later. This is like 12 years after the relationship, right? I am a grown adult, not in high school anymore. Looking back, I thought that was like the love of my life. I thought that was like end game. I thought that he was like my everything. Literally, looking back, it was 4 months. It was 4 months long.
Just
It was
wasted
not
time.
long at all. But what's it called? We went to the same church, and I remember like after we had dated, we because he was still like involved in our youth group, and like I was
Mhm.
super involved in the youth group. Surprisingly, he never knew that he had an uncle. Was it an uncle or a cousin? It was an uncle or a cousin. He had a
Mm.
relative who played the piano for that church, and
Mhm.
he had been going to that church for a couple of years. He never like knew. that was his uncle or cousin or whoever. Like he didn't know. So like when we went into the sanctuary one day, like right before practice, and he was like, "Oh my God!" I think he said it was an uncle. He was like, "Oh my God, Uncle Robert," and I was like, "You." First off, how are you just now meeting him? You've gone to this church for like 3 years. How are you just finding out that he goes here? He's like, I don't know. I never like paid attention to the piano player. And he was like, yeah, that's like my uncle. And I was like, that's your uncle? And he was like, yeah. And then no one would let this go. Okay, so here's the thing. That uncle had been adopted by this one family who came to the church, right? That family had a daughter who married this guy, this one kid, and then that kid, well, okay, they were like adults when they got married. It wasn't like a child bride situation, but she married somebody, and then that person, his brother was dating my sister, and they were like about to have a baby together. And so everyone put that, it was not hard to put it together, but every single person in our youth group put that together, and they were like, oh my God, Marissa, you were dating your cousin. And I was like, first off, he was adopted into the family. It was not by blood. And we would only be related by marriage and adoption. We're not cousins. And everyone kept being like, oh my God, Marissa dated her cousin. Marissa dated her cousin. And I'm like, we are not cousins at all. But people would not let that go. It was so awkward. I was like, thank God we're not dating now, because this is so weird.
Yeah, everyone will be talking about it.
Oh my God. People kept making those stupid jokes. I once broke my arm because I fell off of a bar stool in 6th grade. And everyone was like, oh, Marissa's got a drinking problem. She broke her arm falling off a bar stool.
Marissa used to break her arm too.
I heard she like broke it all the time.
Yes.
That's crazy. So, oh my gosh, see there, that's another way that we're similar, but I only broke my arm once, not like all the time.
That's good.
Yeah, it was only once. But yeah, I broke my arm that one time. Also, my youth pastor, okay, the first time I ever got drunk was on accident. And I'm not saying like, oh, I accidentally drank a bunch of beer. It was that there was, we had a student leader meeting, and our youth pastor refused to get drinks for the meeting, as in like sodas or waters or anything.
Really?
So, yeah, I don't know why he bought us tacos and then nothing to drink. We were like, what the heck?
Like everyone go to the water fountain.
Exactly. And the water fountain was not in the building. It was not in the youth hall building. It was like you had to like walk like 5 minutes through the church to find the closest water fountain. So like him not providing drinks was insane. And he got us so many tacos. So we were like, what the heck? Why wouldn't you also get us drinks? But anyway, so he was like, everybody go find drinks, right? So everyone like went to different parts of the church. They looked at like different fridges. I went into the youth hall fridge and I found a half gallon of orange juice. And I just started drinking that because I was like, it's here. I don't want to walk all the way across the church to find water. Like that's crazy. So I just started drinking. I was like, man, this is really good. It doesn't taste like normal orange juice. Like it tastes really, really good. I drank that whole half gallon in like 20 minutes because I was like, this is the best orange juice I've ever had in my life. Girl, I blacked out. I blacked out. I don't know what happened that night. And then I woke up the next morning fully clothed, like the same clothes I was wearing the night before, fully clothed. Basically, I fell into my bed. Okay, this is going to sound weird. Okay, when I fell into my bed to fall asleep, like I was not like laid out across the bed. I like fell on my knees and then down. So it like ass up, head face down. That is how I slept, fully clothed with my shoes still on. I slept for 14 hours. I slept for 14 hours. When I walked out into the living room, my mom was like, hey, what happened last night? I was like, I don't know. And he was like, I'm so confused. You only went to youth group, right? They said that you left for a little bit. And I was like, I don't remember leaving. And then she said, yeah, I called one of your friends and she said that y'all went to McDonald's, but like, why did you leave? And I was like, I don't know. I don't remember anything from last night. She was like, what is the last thing you remember? I was like, we were eating tacos at the student leader meeting and I was drinking a bunch of orange juice. And she was like, orange juice? What do you mean orange juice? I was like, there was orange juice in the fridge. Like Jonathan didn't get his drinks. And she was like, wait, the orange juice that was in the youth hall? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, Marissa, I bought that orange juice like 2 years ago.
Oh,
and I was like, what?
it
And
fermented.
she was like, Marissa, I think you drank like fermented orange juice. And I was like, is that why it tasted so good? Because I've literally to this day never had orange juice that tasted like that again. So she was like, Marissa, how much of it did you drink? And I said, all of it. Marissa, I bought that when your dad was still the youth pastor a couple years ago. And it was only good. I got it on sale because it was only going to be good for like a couple weeks. It was supposed to be for this one breakfast, and no one wanted it, so it just stayed in the fridge. I didn't know he never cleared it out. So my youth pastor accidentally got me drunk for the first time. I had the worst hangover of my life.
I'm sure you did.
I slept 14 hours. I blacked out. And then we went to the grocery store later that day. I was still hungover. And apparently my mom had told one of the other girls from the youth group, she told her mom what had happened because the girl had told her mom, like, Marissa was acting like kind of crazy last night. It was so weird. Like, I've never seen her like that. And then the mom was like, hey, is Marissa okay? And then that's when my mom was like, oh my God, you'll never guess what happened. It got around the church that I had gotten drunk at church, that I had gotten drunk right before youth group, and that's why I was acting weird. And then like the youth pastor, he didn't get in trouble because he didn't know. And again, it was like orange juice. But like everyone was like, oh, Marissa's at it again. We thought she learned her lesson falling off that bar stool, breaking her arm, but apparently she's still on the bottle. So everyone was saying I was a drunk. It was so stupid. And that's the first time I got drunk. It was off orange juice, fermented orange juice. Like, what the hell? That's crazy.
That's a good way. That's a good story, though. You can tell, you can always tell someone.
Oh my God. I had the worst hangover of my life. Honestly, I've only ever had one other hangover since then. So it's fine. But still, oh my God. And my mom was like, yeah, you came, you didn't, she was like, you walked through the door, you didn't say anything to anybody, you walked to your room, and then you just passed out. You didn't even take off your shoes. And I was like, why didn't you like tuck me in? And she was like, I didn't know what was going on. I just left you be. I was like, what the hell, Mom? What the heck? You didn't even take off my shoes. That's crazy. So, anyway, that's the first time that happened. I was like 15 at the time. No, I was like 16 at the time. Like, yeah. So it was interesting. I doubt anybody else can say that that's what happened to them.
No, there's not going to be anybody else.
Oh my gosh. That youth pastor, his wife would not let that go. And I thought it was funny. Whenever we met her, she was pregnant, but she didn't even know she was pregnant. And then I found out later on, like, from the time I had met her to the time that she had her second kid, I only knew her when she wasn't pregnant for like a couple months. So everything that I had ever experienced with her was always her just pregnant, like pregnancy brain. She was so funny until she finished having kids. When she wasn't pregnant, she wasn't as funny. And it took years for it to click, because I was like, how come she's so funny like here, but now she's like totally different? And then she would switch back and I'm like, what is going on? But it was only because she had pregnancy brain. She once called her husband a pussy. And it was so funny. She actually called, okay, so I was telling her, it was around the time that boyfriend stuff was happening. And I was like, yeah, anytime that we're walking, if there's a branch that you need to like duck to get out of the way, he'll just let it hit him. And then she was like, I guess my husband's a pussy because he'll dodge every single branch. And I'm like, that's my youth pastor. But I thought it was so funny. And then she was teaching Sunday school in front of a whole group of girls. We were talking about Adam and Eve, and she was like, yeah, Adam, she was like, Adam snitched on Eve, so he's just a pussy. And she said that in front of everyone. And I started dying laughing because I was like, no one has ever called Adam, like the first person that ever existed, a pussy. And that is so funny. And then everybody else looked terrified. This one girl looked so mortified. I thought she was having a stroke. And then everybody's parents complained, except for mine, because I didn't tell them what happened, because I thought it was funny. But everybody else snitched on her, and it was so funny. It was so funny. Oh, my God. And then she stopped having babies, or at least she was done having babies for a bit. So she wasn't funny anymore. She stopped using profanities in Sunday school. Oh my gosh. That's when church got lame.
Well, it was fun talking to you. I did learn a lot about you today.
I feel like you learned a lot about me, but also nothing about me. Oh my gosh. I had so much fun talking to you too. If you ever want me on again, just like let me know. I'm definitely down. And I will I'll let you know the time zone.
Alrighty, yeah. Because that's important. I had no idea you were in a different time zone. I thought you were here in Houston.
It's okay. I completely forgot that I was in another time zone too. But anyways, I had a great time talking to you. So I'd definitely be down to do this again.
All right, well, have a nice day.
All right. You too. Bye.
Bye.
That's it for today's episode of Girls and Gays Let's Talk. Thanks for hanging out with us.
If something we said hit home or made you laugh, cry, or text your toxic ex, you know what to do.
Leave us a review, share the episode with your favorite chaotic friend, and don't forget to follow us on socials for behind-the-scenes drama and messy opinions.
New episodes drop every Tuesday. Until then, stay loud, stay soft, and stay exactly who you are.
Bye. Bye.